Straight cash, homie.
Would you please break a damn story?
He took
Thursday edition of PFT OT, and we sort of tripped into this topic thanks to a nudge from producer Pete Demolitis. After we drafted on PFT Live on Thursday the best players from the AFC West, the question emerged, and it's a fascinating one. Would you rather have the roster of the Kansas City Chiefs or a hybrid roster made up of the best players from the other three teams in the division, the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Raiders? And we've already put the question out on Twitter. There's been several thousand responses already, even though it's been up for a few minutes. There's some great reactions to the question that we'll share with you coming up. But this is a one topic. We've never done this that I can remember. A one topic PFTOT, delving into, from every angle we can think of, Chris, the question of whether we'd rather have the Chiefs or the best of the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers. And my knee-jerk reaction is, give me the Chiefs. I mean, we'll talk about the composition of the roster, but it's going to take a lot for me to give up the Chiefs, especially because I got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback.
Well, yeah, I hear that. That's certainly a big factor. There's a Tyreek Hill factor, Honey Badger, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce. I understand that, yes, but there's no freaking way I'm taking the rest of the AFC West. Are you kidding me? I mean, Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, Bosa, Ingram, all coming off the edge, okay? You got guys like Jarrell Casey. Think about your secondary. I mean, your secondary would have so much Derwin James and Justin Simmons at safety, along with, Chris Harris Jr. and A.J. Bouye and Casey Hayward at the secondary, let alone, Linval Joseph and Jarrell Casey at defensive tackle. And then you go to the offensive side. Hey, the Raiders have a good offensive line. Richie Incognito, Trent Brown, those are starting right guards and right tackles. They'd start for the Chiefs right now. Josh Jacobs at tailback. Then you're going to get Keenan Allen, Cortland Sutton, Mike Williams at receiver to go along with a Noah Fant at tight end. And, so no, as awesome as the Chiefs are, if you took the best players from the other three teams, and I would probably take Derek Carr as the quarterback, all right?
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You would take Derek Carr over Drew Lock?
Right now, yes. I got to see a little more from Drew Lock. I mean, Derek Carr was like a week or two away from winning the NFL MVP at one point, all right? So, again.
That was 5 years ago.
Well, last year was a pretty damn good year too, Mike. It wasn't bad. I mean, it's not where you're going to go, oh my gosh, we got to get rid of this guy. The biggest thing that people don't like about Derek Carr is really just they don't know if he coexists with John Gruden. I think we would look at him a lot differently if he wasn't with John Gruden. But I'm saying the other three teams would whoop the crap out of that Kansas City Chiefs team. I'm sorry. That would be my take on it.
Okay, let's construct an offense here. You threw out a bunch of names, but let's be realistic about it. Quarterback, I'm going with Drew Lock. You're going with Derek Carr.
Sure.
Tyrod Taylor barely even gets mentioned. I guess he'd be the number 3 guy. Running back, is it Josh Jacobs or is it Melvin Gordon? Who do you put at number 1?
It doesn't matter. I'll put Josh Jacobs there, and my backup is Melvin Gordon. Okay, who's your backup in Kansas City? Oh, that's right. We don't know. Okay, let's continue. Go ahead.
But Patrick Mahomes is my quarterback, so that's all that matters.
That is.
Okay, who are your receivers? Cortland Sutton and Keenan Allen, right?
Probably, yep. I think those are the two guys. Maybe Mike Williams for the Chargers. He might be in that conversation too if you get that 3-receiver set, right?
I'll take Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins. Wouldn't you take
Tyreek Hill is clearly the best. I'm not going to sit here and definitely take Sammy Watkins over those guys. No. I mean, Sammy Watkins has showed up like 3 times in the last 3 years. So I'm not going to, I know it was a big moment in the Super Bowl and he's got talent. But, no, I think those other guys have every bit as much value or more value than Sammy Watkins.
You mentioned Noah Fant, who did a very good job as a rookie tight end last year for the Broncos. But Hunter Henry with the Chargers, franchise tag,
he's another one.
A guy who has shown he can get it done at a high level. I don't know. Maybe it's a push between Travis Kelce and Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's younger, and you have Fant as the backup. I don't even know who the backup tight end is in Kansas City. So And then offensive line, I mean, if you cherry pick the best offensive linemen from 3 teams, you're going to have a pretty good offensive line, assuming they can play together, work together, run the – there's so many questions that come into play here. You know, beyond who the players would be, which of the 3 coaches would you want to be the head coach of your hybrid Broncos, Raiders, Chargers team?
That's valid. I guess I'm taking Gruden as my head coach, and then can I make Vic Fangio my defensive coordinator? That's what I'd like to do. So, I mean, I just think, again, Kansas City's clearly the most talented team in the AFC West, okay? But, I mean, let's not forget the Chargers were 12-4 2 years ago, and the Chargers were very close last year if it weren't for Phillip Rivers just, being careless in a lot of big moments to where they would have been right back in the playoff conversation too. So I think the question at face value when you first do it, you think, oh, this is going to be close. But then when you start to break it down and you get into the players, you just go, no way, at least to me. Again, like you said, you take the offensive lineman from the other 3 teams, it's going to be a better offensive lineman than the Chiefs have. You take the defensive linemen from the other 3 teams, it's going to be a better defensive lineman than the Chiefs have. Position by position, everything will be better with the other 3 AFC West teams, except for maybe the top receiver, the quarterback, the defensive tackle and Chris Jones, and the tight end. And it's not like there's a huge drop-off there other than maybe the quarterback position with the other 3 teams.
But I think quarterback is so critical, right?
It is.
I'm looking at the makeup of the defense, and they would have a great slew of pass rushers with Von Miller, Joey Bosa, Bradley Chubb. But again, there's still only 11 guys on the field, and we've seen what Patrick Mahomes can do when you have 11 great defensive players from the San Francisco 49ers, and specifically a great front 7, and even more specifically a great front 4. He still has the ability to avoid those guys. Patrick Mahomes is still going to make magic. That's the X factor here. Yeah, you've got great players from the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders that you would have on both sides of the ball, but quarterback is not even close. Whether it's Derek Carr or Drew Lock, there is a huge gap between Patrick Mahomes and whoever the quarterback of this hybrid team would be, and that would be the Achilles heel. But where it's the key strength for the Chiefs, it would be the key weakness for this hybrid team. That's why I still say Chiefs. I mean, yes, great players, but still, you put them all in the same uniform, and you put Derek Carr at quarterback versus Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs are still going to win that game, I think.
Oh, you're crazy, Mike. You're absolutely crazy. I mean, they're going to have the best offensive line in football and be able to run the ball and have the best 2 tight end sets. And the defense is, hey, if we're going to talk about it, depth is part of this conversation. Oh, hey, Bosa and Von Miller, you're tired? Oh, okay, here comes Ingram and Bradley Chubb in as the rotations. So that's where, maybe if you just took it at the face value of the starting 22, maybe you could make a little bit better conversation. But I think we're disrespecting the other 3 teams if we don't think they can combine a team that would be better than the Kansas City Chiefs. The Mahomes thing's very real, but I think the rest of it's insane.
And we know how ridiculous this exercise is, but if you did take a roster made up of 53 players who were the best players from the other teams, you're going to have some good players who find themselves on the bench. And if there really were practices and games, that it could be this team of superstars implodes because you got some guys who are pissed off they're not playing, and you got friction in the locker room. Do they really come together as a team? You almost would want to cut some of the players who would be starters on the individual teams, backups on your team, but they're not happy to be backups. Maybe you just take, instead of having the 1A, 1B, 1C, you go with a true first string, second string, third string. I mean, I know I'm getting too deep into the weeds on this.
You
are.
Kind of You're getting very deep into this. It is.
But my point is this. Just because you take a collection of great players doesn't mean they're going to play great as a team. We have seen NFL teams, and I think back to the Washington franchise in 2000, when it felt like they had bought themselves the Super Bowl, and we were ready to hand them the trophy, and why are we even playing this season? They didn't even make it to the playoffs because they couldn't function as a team. The Chiefs, we know, can. This hybrid team is going to have to be thrown together, and they're going to have a bunch of issues and a bunch of questions. And even if John Gruden would be the no-brainer head coach of the hybrid franchise, there's still a big gap between him and Andy Reid. And I'd want Big Red and his staff, and I'd want that Chiefs team. And I think I can win with that Chiefs team versus trying to throw together a team from the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers. So let me tell you, we have struck a nerve here. The idea that we have stolen from Pete Demolitis is catching fire on our Twitter page. We've got over 6,000 votes in less than 20 minutes of this poll being up. And so far, the Chiefs have 57.4%, and the hybrid team has 42.6%. I'm a little surprised that the gap is that big.
That's insane. And, you went all philosophical and everything like that. But, hey, the talent on the field itself, it would be too overwhelming for the Chiefs. There's no way. I just don't see how that can happen. And I understand the quarterback situation. Yeah, Mahomes is an equalizer. But, it's going to be a different animal running away from this group of guys that he's got to run away from, let alone the secondary. You're going to have two of the best safeties in football, and James and Simmons back there with great cover corners and, great middle linebackers, the ability to run the football. So, no, I don't think it's close. I don't. And I mean, listen, you could argue what you're saying, the team aspect of it, and you're right, that's very real. We don't know if we had to put a bunch of collection of all-stars together from another three teams. But at base value, I still think it's a little disrespectful to the rest of the division to say they can't combine a team that would be better than the Chiefs.
Let's look at some of the responses to the poll question on Twitter. KC Junk says, as long as the Chiefs have Mahomes, that will always be the answer. And I think that's why the poll is a landslide so far, because
we got to get
focused
out of that stupid thought. Like, get away.
Why?
Then how did Nick Foles
do you not
beat
watch Patrick
Tom
Mahomes
Brady?
play?
How did Nick Foles beat Tom Brady? Tell me how. Oh, that's right. There was 52 other guys that were a part of it.
I still
We're
think that there's
obsessed with this quarterback thing in our country right now. If we don't have the best quarterback, we can't win.
But Nick Foles played well in that game. I think that whole playoff run, I still have this weird theory that it was kind of a Slumdog Millionaire thing where it was the right place at the right time, the right circumstances. The lightning struck for him over and over and over again. And any other year, any other occasion, any other circumstances, it wouldn't have worked out. But I hear what you're saying. How about this one? This is a twist that I want your take on. Anthony Gelada says if the Chargers draft Tua, then option B, the hybrid option, in a landslide. Those three teams ain't got shit at quarterback for the moment. Do you think it makes a difference if the Chargers have Tua and he becomes the starting quarterback?
No, I don't. I'm not ready to sit here and tell you that.
You're already all in on the three hybrid team anyway. For me, let me answer the question then. I think it could make a difference. We just don't know enough about what Tua is going to be. But again, quarterback to me is the biggest strength of the Chiefs and the biggest liability of this hybrid team. And I'd still go with Drew Lock over Derek Carr. But since you're the guy who's all in with the hybrid team, we'll respect your depth chart. You put Derek Carr out there, I just think it makes it even harder for that team to beat the Chiefs. I'd go with Drew Lock and just hope that he can do exactly what needs to be done, which may not be all that much if you've got all those great players around him to get the job done. All right, let's see what else we have here before we wrap this.
Yeah, the Tua thing, too, that wouldn't change my thought. Just to get back to that, though, the Tua conversation, that's not going to make me change anything. No, I'm not sitting here I don't think Tua's as talented as Drew Lock. So, no, I don't give a damn about that. Like, everybody's got to get off this thing. Tua, again, I just think I like Tua. Like I said, if he was totally healthy, I'm not sure I would pick him in the top 20 picks of the draft. So, let alone the health concerns. Again, I think he's another guy that's getting way too much credit for the machine of Alabama, and we're all giving the quarterback the credit instead of evaluating it is for what it is. I mean, if Justin Herbert is on the Alabama Crimson Tide, they're going to win the national title most likely, and he's going to put numbers up that are going to rival Joe Burrow. I mean, that's the way I look at it, but, I know I don't always look at it the same as everybody else.
Fovic Fangio on Twitter says, why are you starting this shit this morning? Just
I love it.
A lot of people are all in on the idea that you have the cohesiveness of a team, the synergy of a team, Patrick Mahomes, and you've got this idea of throwing a bunch of strangers together and hoping that it works. And if we're going to do this, I mean, we know it's ridiculous from the get-go, but let's suspend disbelief. If you're going to have a locker room with these guys who come from different teams, and you're going to try to craft this all-star team into a team. It's going to take some time, right? You can't just show up. If it's one game, you got 3 weeks to get ready for it, like the guards versus the inmates in The Longest Yard. If it's like that, just one game, winner take all, and that's it, it's got to be the Chiefs, because I think it's going to take time to get that hybrid team to the point where they are firing on all cylinders and can overcome the benefit that the Chiefs have. I mean, my God, they're bringing back 20 or 22 starters. They already have that advantage of continuity, et cetera, and we know how important that is. So if it's just a one-time thing, then it's the Chiefs. If that team becomes the only other team in the AFC West and they play a full season, I'll agree with you. By the end of the campaign, that team of superstars, especially when you factor in injuries, is probably going to be in a better position than the Chiefs.
Yeah, okay, good. But yeah, I mean, listen, that's a very real aspect. If we're going to get try to take this serious, yeah. Yes, team building, camaraderie, familiarity with the system. Yeah, those will be struggles for a team of, all-stars to be putting together in 3 weeks. You're really right. They're not going to have a chance to win that football game, I don't think, But yes, you give them some time together, then I go, watch out, and they're going to win the Super Bowl. So it is a fun exercise regardless. And we really did it because of our draft on the show today, where, honestly, we could have very easily picked Travis Kelce and Honey Badger to be in that draft too, and really phased out the rest of the division if you wanted to get into it. So it was fun regardless. It's good interaction with everybody on social media.
At the Mac says that defense would be the 85 Bears. Who cares if you don't have Mahomes? No one is scoring against you, and that is a pretty good point. And here's the thing. We didn't set it up as playing those two teams against each other. It's just like, give me my roster. I'll take the Chiefs or I'll take this hybrid, and I'll go into a season. You go into a season where you play 16 games with that hybrid team, I think at the end of the day, you are going to be in better shape than the Chiefs would be because you have the depth. Because you will get better as the season goes on. For one game, All-Star game versus Chiefs, I'm taking the Chiefs over the All-Stars. Full season, I hate to agree with you in any way at all. I'm really struggling with this. Full season, if we're really going to do that, if we are going to fold two of the three teams that are in the AFC West and merge them into the remaining team and put all the best players and coaches together, I think that team would be flat out dominant. It may take a little while to get there. They may need a few weeks to find their stride, and you may have to bench Derek Carr for Drew Lock at some point. But I think at the end of the day, that would be a very special team, especially because injuries are a reality, and you'd be able to plug another star player in, or at a minimum, a guy who's a starter caliber player. Good luck with the salary cap. I mean, if we really want to get nuts,
that's the real problem. Right? If you're going to get real, $500 million.
You are going to have to release some of those guys because you just can't afford all of them. All right, we appreciate the interaction, though. The poll is going to be up for a full 24 hours, and based upon the way it's gotten started, there's going to be 50,000 votes. We may have to revisit this tomorrow. And you know what? We'll have Peter King tomorrow because Chris doesn't work on Fridays. We'll see if Peter King thinks you're nuts or I'm nuts for our position, knee-jerk, on whether or not you'd rather have the Chiefs or this hybrid team of Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Thanks, as always, for your time. We're so happy to be back on in the UK and in Ireland, and we'll do it again on Friday. Chris, great work as always. What do you have coming up on Unbuttoned? You got something coming today?
I do. Got the podcast coming out later today. We're going to break down top 5 defensive tackles in the draft, and that's really – next week, got 3 days of podcasts leading up to the draft. Just going to continue to break down all angles and players and everything that goes along with it, Mike.
Are you sure you're going to be able to handle next week with 3 days of podcasts and 5 days on PFT Live? Are you sure?
I'll be okay. I'll be all right. I'll make it.
You better do some. Now, is this extra daddy cigars on the front end or on the back end? Probably on the back end.
It'll be extra daddy cigars on the front end. Take a good break for the week and work hard, and then get extra ones on the back end too.
All right. Well, look forward to that. And everybody, enjoy your day. We'll see you back here again on Friday.
See ya.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.